Hello and welcome to class 9th, subject English, book Movement, chapter 3rd, Ishwaran the Storyteller by R.K. Lakshman. The title of this chapter, Ishwaran the Storyteller, tells us that this story is about Ishwaran. He is called the storyteller because as storytelling is an art, he is good at it. Ishwaran uses special effects to does voice modulation, uses his body language to make the story realistic so that the listener is that Mahendra gets attracted and captivated in his story. The writer wants to highlight this story or this quality of Ishwaran that he was so good at telling stories that they appeared to be real. His stories were a source of entertainment for Mahendra. Let's start the chapter, students, by line explanation with reading. The story was narrated to Ganesh by a young man, Mahendra by name. He was a junior supervisor in a firm which offered on hire supervisors at various types of construction sites, factories, bridges, dams, and so on. Mahendra's job was to keep an eye on the activities at the work site. He had to keep moving from place to place every now and then as ordered by his head office. From a coal mining area to a railway bridge construction site. From there, after a few months, to a chemical plant that was coming up somewhere. So, in the first paragraph, students, we get to know that uh, there are two characters in this. First is Mahendra and another is Ganesh. Mahendra is telling this story to Ganesh or narrating this story to Ganesh. Okay, so the listener is Ganesh and the narrator is Mahendra. So, what is the occupation of Mahendra in this paragraph or in this chapter is that he is a junior supervisor. Junior supervisors work here. It is described that junior supervisors used to look after the work of the laborers or the workers, okay, of the factories, bridges, dams, whatsoever construction work is done. So the laborers or, or the workers whomsoever work over there, these supervisors used to look after them, or look after them means they make the data that how many are present or what the work has been done today or tomorrow or what are the problems, different matters. Okay, so these supervisors look after. And here in the next last lines it is explained that he used to move to different places, place to place he used to move as the order given by the head office to him. So, sometime he used to move to the coal mining area, to a railway bridge construction site. From there, after a few months, he had to move to a chemical plant. Okay, coming up somewhere, and again he will go somewhere else as the head office will tell him. So, he was a bachelor, his needs were simple, and he was able to adjust himself to all kinds of odd conditions, whether it was an ill equipped circuit house or a makeshift canvas tent in the middle of the stone quarry. But one asset he had was his cook, Ishwaran. The cook was quite attached to Mahendra and followed him, complaining, complainingly wherever he was posted. He cooked for Mahendra, washed his clothes, and chatted away with his master at night. He could weave out endless stories and anecdotes on varied subjects. So, here we got to know that Mahendra was a bachelor, he was unmarried. He was unmarried. His needs were simple, means he was a very simple person and he was not having very luxurious need. He was a very simple kind of person and having simple needs. Needs are the things of daily use. Okay, so he was able to adjust himself to all kinds of odd conditions, means whatsoever conditions may be, whether it is he is having a equipped circuit house, whether he is having makeshift canvas tent, means the house, man-made house which is made up of cloth. Okay, so whether the house is luxurious ones, or whether the house is movable ones, or whether what type of house he got by the office, or he has to make by himself, then also he is able to adjust with any type of condition, whether it is good or bad. uh, the cook was quite attached to Mahendra. Here, the cook Ishwaran was very attached to Mahendra, as in this line he had told that, but one asset he had was his cook, that was Ishwaran. So, students, why Mahendra is calling Ishwaran as his asset? We'll get to know. The cook was quite attached to Mahendra and followed him uncomplainingly wherever he was posted. Means Mahendra used to go due to the official work at different places. Okay, so with Mahendra only, Ishwaran used to travel with different living styles. He also used to manage. Okay, so he washed clothes for Mahendra. He chatted with Mahendra at night. He could weave out endless. Weave out means he used to make different stories by joining different matters in it. Endless stories which is having no end, or with the help of any anecdotes, he used to make different subject of the stories, and he make his stories and make Mahendra to listen. Okay, so one first question of your book, here it is that why Ishwaran was an asset for Mahendra. So Mahendra's job kept him moving from place to place. He had to stay in very uncomfortable conditions, but his cook Ishwaran was his asset. He always remained with him. He never complained whatever he had to go. He cooked for his master, he washed his clothes, he entertained him with his endless tales. That is why he was an asset for Mahendra. Ishwaran also had an amazing capacity to produce vegetables and cooking ingredients, seemingly out of nowhere, in the middle of the desolate landscape with no shops visible for miles around. So one more quality of Mahendra, here it is explained by one more quality of Ishwaran, here it is explained by Mahendra, that he was a person of a extra quality, that not he not Ishwaran only cook good food. He was having the quality to collect the materials, the ingredients of the food, of the vegetables from near surroundings. And Mahendra did not understand that how he is able to, as they used to live in the middle of desolate means a empty area where nothing is there, where no shops are there, but then also Ishwaran is able to collect all the ingredients, all the vegetables, what he needed for cooking. And so this was the impressive thing what Ishwaran used to do for Mahendra in very less time, in a very, he would miraculously conjure up the most delicious dishes made with fresh vegetables within an hour of arriving at the zinc sheet shelter at the new workplace. Means now where they were living, it was a sheet shelter, and near there were no shops of vegetables or anything. But then also Ishwaran used to collect all the ingredients of the vegetable or the food whatsoever he is going to make. It was a miraculously conjure. Here conjure means arrange with magic. Okay, so he collect all the ingredients, all the cooking ingredients in a magical way, in a very hurry and furry manner. Zinc sheet shelter here means a temporary house which is made up of tin shed. Okay, so he used to cook very delicious and on time in that type of house only. Mahendra would be up early in the morning and leave for work after breakfast, carrying some prepared food with him. Here it is explained that Mahendra used to go to his office in every morning, and he also took lunch after doing the breakfast, and then he leave for the work. Meanwhile, Ishwaran would tidy up the shed, wash the clothes, and have a leisurely bath, pouring several buckets of water over his head, muttering a prayer all the while. It would be lunchtime by then. After eating, he would read for a while before dozing off. The book was usually some popular Tamil thriller, running to hundreds of pages. Its imaginative descriptions and narrative flourishes would hold Ishwaran in thrall. So, here, students, Mahendra would be up early in the morning. As I have explained, he used to wake up in early in the morning, and he take the breakfast and also took the lunch for office. Okay, and after that, what Ishwaran used to do, that he used to clean up the shed wherever he is living, wash the clothes of Mahendra and itself only, and do the leisurely bath, pouring several buckets of water. Okay, on him, he used to waste lots of bucket, you can say, bucket of water, you can say, or he liked to bath with lots of water. So you must have seen, students, the pandits. Okay, they used to mutter a prayer while doing bath. Same like that only Ishwaran also do. He used to chant different prayers while he used to bath. After taking bath and doing his all household work, he used to take lunch, and then afterwards he read different storybooks. The book was usually some popular Tamil thriller. The book what the Ishwaran was reading was a popular Tamil thriller running to hundreds of pages. Okay. So what the stories, what the books Ishwaran used to read, those were Tamil thrillers. Thriller here means which create a very uh, dramatic situation it is, in which Ishwaran used to involve too much. You can say in excitement. He read those books in very much excitement, and those books carries hundred of pages. Its imaginative descriptions and narrative flourishes would hold Ishwaran in thrall. I mean, whenever he read those books, read those stories, he come into the thrall. He came into excitement, and he involves himself in this story only. He think that he is living that character. Okay, so he was so involved in such type of stories. His own descriptions were greatly influenced by the Tamil authors that he read. Students, thrall means the state of being in someone's power. Okay, means Ishwaran, whenever Ishwaran used to read those story, he comes in that character, what is explained in that story. Okay, so he took that power, or he's having that power, or he thinks that he is living that character. And his own descriptions were greatly influenced by the Tamil authors that he read. When he was narrating even the smallest of incidents, he would try to work in suspense and a surprise ending into the count. For example, instead of saying that he had come across an uprooted tree on the highway, he would say with eyebrows suitably arched and hands held out in a dramatic gesture. The road was deserted. I was all alone. Here, Ishwaran used to here Ishwaran was very much influenced by those Tamil stories, and he involves himself, he thrall himself in those stories only, and he act as if that character had come inside him, and he behaves like that only. He gives that type of gesture only, that if that person which is there in the story, if he is present in real, he must be doing like that only, how Ishwaran is doing. He take that character only. Okay, so one example is also given here, that how what type of stories he used to create. Okay, he is having suspense in his stories. He creates surprises, he creates suspense. He doesn't ever tell the stories or the ending of the stories directly. He create lots of suspense and surprises, so that the listener create interest or get interest in his story. For example, instead of saying that he had come across an uprooted tree on the highway, he would say with eyebrow suitably arched and hands held out in a dramatic gesture, the road was deserted and I was all alone. Suddenly, I spotted something that looked like an enormous bushy beast lying sprawled across the road. I was half inclined to turn and go back, but as I came closer, I saw that it was a fallen tree with its dry branches spread out. Mahendra would stretch himself back in his canvas chair and listen to Ishwaran's tales uncritically. Here, this is a very funny thing, students. If you will take interest, you will also enjoy in this chapter that how Ishwaran used to create jokes, or how Ishwaran used to make his stories. Students, you must be listen about a figure of speech, that is hyperbole. Okay, so in this figure of speech, people used to elaborate, exaggerate the things. Means in Hindi you can say बढ़ा चढ़ा कर बोलना. Okay, so exaggerate the things, like that only Ishwaran used to do with his stories. So what Ishwaran do with his stories? He used to involve hyperbole in his speeches to create interest of the listener. Okay, so one example is given in this paragraph, that if a tree is uprooted just due to any storm, just due to any wind, hard wind, harsh wind, then he used to say, with his full of expression showing on his face by the gesture language also you can say that by putting up his eyebrows, the arched means R shape eyebrow. Okay, he put up his eyebrow uh, up in, and he used to say, he would say with his eyebrows suitably arched and hands held out in a dramatic gesture. Okay, means out of his body. He took out his hand, and he used to express his words with his facial expressions also, and with the hands expressions also. Okay, and it means hands expressions mean he used to took the actions. You must have seen the action rhyme scheme poems. Okay, how the children used to do and explain their poetries by their action movements. Okay, so like that only he used to explain those dramas or that incidents with the help of his hands by explaining different incidents or the uh, what you can say that incidents he used to explain with the hands that what happened at that moment, and he was how much far away from the tree. He used to take help to explain that situation, and he was having facial expressions on his face, that where he used to give fearful expression, where he used to give happy expression, where he used to give angry expression. Such type of expressions in second he used to change on his face. So he say that about that uprooted tree, that the road was deserted. Here deserted means that it was an empty road. Okay, nothing was there, no man was there on that road, and I was all alone, means he was alone on that road. Suddenly I spotted something that looked like an enormous means huge, beast here means animal. Okay, so when he was passing away on the road alone, when he was alone, there it was a huge bushy beast, means animal. He thought that on the road in front of him at some far away, one huge bushy beast animal is there, laying sprawled across the road. Okay, laying on the road. I was half inclined to turn and go back. Means he was so much fearful that he had thought to go back. But as I came closer, I saw that it was a fallen tree. Means after keeping some courage in him, he took few steps after, and what he had seen, that was what he had noticed, that it was an huge bushy beast animal. It was not like that, it was just an fallen tree having dry bush branches spread out. Okay, so Mahendra would stretch. Means after all, after listening this small incidents, in Mahendra's mind, suspense was created that what type of beast it was. Okay, so for listening all these incidents, Mahendra was very carefully. Mahendra was listening all the story without judging it. Okay, here uncritically means without judging them. Judging them means here why the uncritically word is used for Mahendra, that he used to listen all such type of idiotic stories what Ishwaran used to tell him, whether it is correct, whether it is not correct, wrong. Okay, then also Mahendra used to listen all the stupidity what Ishwaran used to tell him. The place I came from is famous for timber. Ishwaran would begin. Means again, the type or the trick or the strategy what is used by Ishwaran for explaining for telling his story, here Mahendra has explained. that firstly he used to tell about the thing, means he used to give instruction about this story. So first he said that he belonged to that place where timber is famous. Okay, so timber are the logs, wooden logs, which is used for making different furnitures. Okay, so Ishwaran would begin with the introductory part. There is a richly wooded forest all around. The logs are hauled onto the lorries by elephants, means those logs, richly wooded forest all around, everywhere in Mahindra village, everywhere there is, you can see a long forest in Mahin's village. Such type of place he belonged to. It was richly wooded forest, and from that place, timbers were carried with the help of lorries, and in lorries the elephants were there. Okay, and those elephants used to carry those logs um, on their backs. They are huge, well fed beasts. Beasts again here are the big animals, and huge, well fed means they are having a very good diet, and they were fed first, and then those elephants used to work out. When they turn wild, even the most experienced mahout is not able to control them. After this prologue, Ishwaran would launch into an elaborate anecdote involving an elephant. Means a simple thing by introduction, giving introduction of such type of village, and then what type of this big beast is, and then he starts his story by saying that if such beast got crazy, or if they get out of their mind, then what they will do. They are the wild ones, and they will create lots of disturbances. Even the mahout of those elephants will not able to control such type of animals. Okay, such type of elephants, if they will be out of their mind. After this prologue, here prologue means the introductory session. Ishwaran would launch into an elaborate means in detail anecdote, a story. Anecdote means a story, old story you can say. He moved to that, involving that simple animal, elephant. One day, a tusker escaped from the timber yard and began to roam about, stamping on bushes, tearing up wild creepers, and breaking branches at will. So, here tusker means elephant. He is telling about one day what happened in the timber yard, that once one elephant have ran away from that timber yard. Okay, and he had just destroyed all the bushes, and all the bushes by stamping on them and tearing up the wild creepers. Creepers are the plants, okay, which are used to grow on the ground only, or they need any other plant suppose, or anything any other thing support to move up. In Hindi, these creepers are called bale. Okay, so these creepers were destroyed or torn up by the elephant, and breaking the branches at will means elephants whatsoever they like to do, they do. By if they need if they whatsoever branch will come in its trunk, they used to break those branches. You know, sir, how an elephant behaves when it goes mad. So Ishwaran is asking to Mahendra that Has he knowing that? Is he knowing that if an elephant become mad, then what he'll do? Ishwaran would get so caught up in the excitement of his own story that he would get up from the floor and jump about, stamping his feet in emulation of the mad elephant. Emulation means effort to match. Okay, so here when that mad elephant used to do such type of destruction, and that movement is explained to Mahendra by Ishwaran. Ishwaran would get up. For explaining such movements, Ishwaran would copy that elephant, or do the acting of that elephant, that how he used to stamp on the bushes, how he used to tear those creepers, and how they used to break the branches. Ishwaran used to do all the acting by giving the gesture symbols, or the gesture language, with the help of hands and with the help of different expressions. Okay, so with the full excitement, he used to uh, tell the story to Mahendra. In his own stories, he got so much involved and excited, and he jump about, stamp to his feet, and give his much effort to match with that mad elephant. Means he tried to copy that how elephants do when they become mad. The elephant reached the outskirts of our town. Breaking the fences down like matchsticks, he would continue. It came into the main road and smashed all the stalls selling fruits, mud pots, and clothes. People ran skelter in panic. The elephant now entered a school ground where children were playing, breaking through the brick wall. All the boys ran into the classroom and shut the doors tight. Here, students, yeah, when it is explained that when the elephants reach the outskirts of the town, means interior of the town, when they used to enter, outskirts are the boundary. Okay, so when they used to enter on the outskirts, on the borders of the cities, so breaking the fences down like matchsticks. Elephants used to break the fences. Fences means boundary. They used to break the boundaries of different things like in matchstick. Why the fences are compared with the boundary? Because matchsticks are very thin, small, and easy to break. Okay, so for elephant, those fences, those hard fences, were like as if they are breaking the mastics. So here metaphor, figure of speech is used to compare the two different things, that is mastic and the fences, for showing strength. Okay, it came into the main road. When the elephants came into the main road, they used to smash the stalls of selling fruits and mud pots or the clothes. Uh, People used to do panic, and in hurry and fury, they used to run here and there. The elephant now entered in the school ground where children were playing. Okay, so after destroying the market, the elephant entered into the schoolyard, and he started breaking the brick wall brick wall and all the boys ran into the classroom and shut the doors. At that moment, when he was that elephant was breaking the brick wall. At that movement, the students who were playing in the ground, they have entered in their classroom and they have locked the doors. The beast granted. Granted means roaring, you can say. So that beast was roaring, shouting in his voice, wandering about. Wandering here means roaming here and there, pulling out the football goalpost. So what the elephant had done, that he has just pull out that football goalpost and thrown away. Tearing down the volleyball net, he has just towed up the volleyball net, kicking and flattening the drum kept for water. He has he had just kicked up the drum in which the water is kept and flattening up the whole water, and uprooted the shrubs. Whatsoever plants were there, that elephant have just uprooted them. He had just spoiled them. Meanwhile, all the teachers had climbed up to the terrace of the school building. From there, they helplessly watched the depredations of the elephant. Depredations means attacks which are made to harm or destroy anything. So, what happened when the elephant was destroying all those goalposts, volleyball net, and kicking and fluttering that water, uprooting those shrubs? At that period of time, all the teachers and some students have gone up to the terrace, and from there they were watching the whole depredations, watching the whole disaster or the destroyed things what the elephant was doing. Okay, so these were not the soul below on the ground. There was not a soul below on the ground, means there was not a soul, means not a single person was there on the ground. The streets were empty, as if the inhabitants of the entire town had suddenly disappeared. Means as the elephant has done so much of depredation, so much of uh, disturbance in the city, that no one was there on the road. Everybody have just hidden themselves in their houses. Okay, so the roads were empty, nobody was looking anywhere. I was studying a junior class at that time. Here I is Ishwaran students. Okay, so he is saying that when this incident happened at that period of time, Ishwaran was in junior class and was watching the whole drama from the rooftop. I don't know what came over me suddenly. I grabbed a cane from the hands of one of the teachers and ran down the stairs and into the open. The elephant grunted, menacingly swung a branch of a tree which it held in its trunk. It stamped its feet, kicking up a lot of mud and dust. It took frightening, but I moved slowly towards it, stick in hand. So here Ishwaran is showing his power, going to show his power. He is saying that in fraction of seconds, what happened with him, that something goes in his mind, and he suddenly took a can from one of his teacher's hand and ran downward towards the stairs, and then in the open area where the elephant was. The elephant was grunting, he was roaring, he was menacingly swung. A branch means in angerness, he has just broken up a branch, and swung up means moving from one place to another at the same direction. Okay, he was swinging up a branch of a tree which it held in its trunk. Okay, So it stamped its feet. He was stamping up its feet on the ground, kicking up lot of mud and dust. When he was stamping his leg on his ground, on the ground, at that moment, lots of mud and dust was coming out of the uh, ground. Okay, it looked frightening. Means the whole scene was so much fearful that anyone can get scared of. But at that movement, Ishwaran, by taking one can in his hand and one stick in his hand, he moved towards the Ishwaran. Students, this is the first part of the chapter. As this chapter was little bit lengthy, so I have made two parts to get to the second part also, and I hope this much you have understood. It is a very funny story, and you must have seen such type of people who used to exaggerate their stories and give interest to the listeners for for listening their stories. Thank you. I hope you have understood this much.